Dr. Anne Weaver Hart, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We're sitting, of course, here on the veranda of Old Main, which underwent a major renovation earlier this year. What's the significance of this building to the university?
This is the beginning of the University of Arizona. And for many years after its founding, everything happened here, from dorm rooms to food to classrooms to exhibits from the original Territorial Museum that were begun here in 1893. So this is it. This is our root and our beginning, and so important to the University of Arizona. We were all here. We did everything here, and it's wonderful to be in the heart of this university and to celebrate this example of what is actually not a very common remaining building in our region, the territorial architecture of this great building.
You called it, of course, at the opening, the inauguration, the front porch of the university, which I thought was a quite beautiful way of putting it. You decided to move your office here. How has that move changed your relationship to the university community?
It's really opened up for me the accessibility of the president's office to the broader community, a chance to feel the rhythm of the campus that can't be felt on the top of an office tower. This afternoon, we all enjoyed the concert on the green and the sound of music and students. People walk around the veranda. I get to see them from my window. I get a chance to see the students when they start their campus tours. It really has brought me back into the heartbeat of the university. And I was very pleased when the regents encouraged me to move back to Old Main, where the president's office had its very, very beginnings.
The regents, of course, approved the renovation cost with the requirement that it be paid for by private funding. But fundraising has been a little bit sluggish. Did you expect that? And do you have any explanation for why donors are sort of slow to give?
People wanted to see what that renovation looked like. We're about $3 million toward goal. We used renovation funds that had already been set aside for the university, many of which had been established for the preservation of the building. And we couldn't wait. The roof was collapsing. This veranda had been closed. The floor between the second story and the first story was collapsing, and the foundations were crumbling. So we knew we had to move quickly, and we will continue to work on raising the $13.5 million that the renovation cost until that goal is reached. In the meantime, we used university renovation funds to renovate our most important historic building.
You introduced your strategic plan, Never Settled, just over a year ago. How is the implementation of the plan going? And can you point out any signs of tangible progress?
Absolutely. The Never Settle plan captured the hopes, aspirations, and spirit of people who are here at the University of Arizona. And Never Settle, as the title for that plan, specifically addresses our tremendous past, our commitment to the present, and our commitment to the future, that we will never settle, but anything but the best for the University of Arizona, and that those prospects are boundless. A number of really important areas of progress. We have implemented the 100% student engagement, established a transcript notation for our students' explicit experiences, applying formally acquired knowledge in new and unexpected settings so that knowledge becomes a part of who they are and how they act and make decisions, rather than simply a way to assure through a test or a paper that they had mastered a knowledge base. That 100% engagement is going gangbusters, and the students have embraced it, are helping to design those experiences in everything from entrepreneurship to public service to business internships. Very, very exciting. And actively engaging in learning is the first pillar of the plan. The second pillar is innovating. And we were so fortunate to have a faculty senate that was willing to change our promotion and tenure criteria to embrace that application of knowledge to new and innovative solutions to the problems faced by humankind. Was a tremendous move on the part of a faculty in a research university. So we're committed to rewarding and promoting the use of existing and new knowledge in surprising and creative ways to create innovation that changes our future. And that's everything from the arts to the optical sciences to space exploration. And that's the spirit of innovating at the university. Tech Launch Arizona is one example, but there are many, many examples of the promotion and support for innovative thinkers at this great university. And the third pillar is partnering. We now have a number of new opportunities to have partnerships with industry and private business, with other not-for-profits. One example that is our sort of poster child that I'm sure you've heard about is our mining program that has a deeply embedded relationship with the mining industry to advance environmental science and assure that the minerals that are fundamental to our way of life are available while our environment is preserved. Another example is our partnering in pharmacy with software that helps to manage prescriptions. And we formed a partnership with a local business to implement that and bring it into people's lives to reduce the total number of prescriptions, reduce negative interactions, and increase effectiveness. Just a few examples of things that have happened in the last year.
The freshman class at the U of A this year is the biggest in its history. Is there any natural limit to enrollment growth?
That's two different questions. Yes, this is the biggest freshman class in the history of the university, in part because our applications year over year from the previous year were up more than 23%. But they're up again this year by another 23%. And our out-of-state admissions were up 21% because the University of Arizona is such a highly desirable destination for a world-class research university in a public setting and on a very, very beautiful residential campus. The natural limit is our size, our commitment to our core mission and values, and our assurance that every student at the University of Arizona will have that fully engaging experience with our faculty and with one another. That is our mission, and we are not about to become a mega university and abandon that core mission. So we will impose limits on ourselves. At the same time, the Board of Regents has asked us to grow in order to be a part of the solution of our 3 institutions in the state to increase the number of Arizona citizens who hold bachelor's degrees. So we are a part of that, and we have an enrollment target set by the Enterprise 2020 plan that was developed at the Board of Regents.
And of course, this class wasn't just the biggest, it's also the most diverse in the university's history. Are you doing anything to improve faculty diversity?
Absolutely. In fact, our provost office and our Senior Vice President for Health Sciences office have all made faculty diversity a very high priority. And we work with the Chief Diversity Officers on campus to help assure that our faculty searches really do uncover the most diverse possible candidate pools that we can find. That's how you find the very best diverse faculty. That's how we find the very best diverse students.
Earlier this year, the U of A launched the biggest capital campaign in its history. How close are you to your $1.5 billion goal?
We are past the 71% mark with 3.5 years to go, and very, very encouraged by the support of private philanthropy for the university. We tied the Arizona Now campaign, which is our fundraising campaign, to the Never Settle plan. So enhancing the student experience, supporting innovative thinkers, and expanding our global reach are the key goals that parallel Never Settle and guide the areas of focus for fundraising. We've had some incredible successes just this year, from the Agnes Howery Endowment, which will be, we think, over $50 million when the estate is settled, that supports social justice and the environment, to the gift from the Marley Foundation that supports our new veterinary medicine program. We have had tremendous support for our athletics facilities, for our academic programs, for our faculty and students. It's been very heartening.
Now looking towards the university budget, how difficult was the budgeting process this year?
Well, it was very difficult because, as you know, we received very little in additional funds from the state legislature. We were very grateful for support for our incredible cooperative extension program that is so central to our engagement across the state of Arizona. But we also knew that in order to be able to do some of the critical things that we had planned and hoped for, we were going to have to find internally, through reallocation, resources to do that. And so we reallocated about $20 million internally from administrative costs to our core activities of engaging, innovating, and partnering, and are working very, very hard to keep the never settle goals in mind. We also are a major research university, as you know, and the stimulus funds that were a part of the recovery from the Great Recession are now gone. So focusing on external grants and contracts in support of our research mission is also tremendously important.
Do you expect that the budgeting process will ease in the coming fiscal year?
Not at all. I think the challenges that Arizona faces are widely known, widely reported in the press. The K-12 funding problem is clearly central to the discussion this year, and the pace of the economic recovery will have an impact on state revenues. So we have to make sure that we are strong advocates for the contribution of higher education and the University of Arizona within our state higher education system to the future well-being of this state. And that will be central to our message this year.
You mentioned reallocation in the current budget. What were the more difficult decisions that you had to make?
Well, one of the most difficult decisions we make is which of our key, really signature programs we are going to invest in going forward. And so part of the Never Settle process was establishing 7 key areas of focus for enhancing faculty resources and enhancing our external funding. And so you'll see 4 of those are in the biomedical sciences, because we know that we have, in the past decades, invested more in the physical sciences and in agriculture and life sciences than we have in biomedical and health sciences. Those are hard decisions, because for every yes, there's a no that goes with it. None of these decisions are good versus evil. They're all, which is the best optimization of the potential of the University of Arizona. And those are decisions that are very, very difficult and lie at the heart of Provost Comrie's responsibilities and Senior Vice President Skip Garcia's in health sciences. And those are decisions we make together as a team with Never Settle as the framework for those decisions.
Do you expect there to be more difficult decisions and cuts next year?
Yes.
Okay. We hear politicians talk all the time about waste and fat in budgets. Do you see much of that at the U of A?
No. We are always comparing ourselves to our world-class peers. And so we look at other world-class public research universities with medical schools who are also land-grant and members of the AAU. There are only about a dozen of us in the entire country. And the cost structure to achieve the goals we have set for ourselves is pretty difficult to manage. So we look at our peers, we make sure that we have a comparable data on all areas of expenses, and we make sure that we don't fall outside the mean. I'll give you an example. We have an average of about $400,000 per year per grant active faculty, which is above the mean for our comparator peers. We spend and have fewer assignable square feet of research space for those faculty than our peers, and are down 9th out of 12 in that list. So we know that our faculty produce more in external funding per assignable square foot, and we can compare ourselves and make sure that we're staying right at the top of our game.
Many people have said that the U of A didn't fare well in terms of state funding this year. How do you see that?
Well, I think that we were very disappointed by the lack of support for our veterinary medicine program and for the lack of support for the $15 million of investment in critical mission faculty in the biomedical sciences. They're absolutely at the heart of our assignments of our mission in Arizona: veterinary medicine and agriculture, land grant, and biomedical sciences. We have 2 medical schools. So it was a disappointment that the state chose not to invest in those areas that are mission critical for us. We will have to continue, however, to focus on preserving our values and eyes on the prize with that mission, and find ways to invest in our future so that the students, faculty, and staff here can see the kind of place they'll be proud of, and our alumni can be assured that we respect and honor the traditions that they have set for us.
Earlier this year, the University of Arizona announced a major merger between the University of Arizona Medical Center and Banner. Can you talk about that decision? Was that a difficult decision? What does that mean for UAMC and for the health of Tucson?
One of the things we know about academic medicine and healthcare in the United States is that business as usual, modeled after the 20th century, doesn't work. No medical school can be successful at the highest levels without a strong clinical partner that generates sufficient operating margin to invest in education and research, as well as world-class clinical care. And so we began our conversations with Banner Health because they exemplify one of the top 5 systems in the country in their ability to deliver population health, improved outcomes, and reduced cost, and their commitment to the application of knowledge and translation of that knowledge into clinical practice and treatments. A perfect partner for us, and Arizona-based. We have been engaged in very, very difficult conversations, very complex conversations with Banner and the University of Arizona Health Network, which is a separate corporation from the university, and are closing in on the completion of that deal. We have set as a goal the finalization and signature of documents by the week of January 12th, and a hard closing on the merger of the health network with Banner and a long-term academic affiliation between the U of A and Banner to close on January 31st. So it is closing in. We're very excited about the contribution this will make to investments in Tucson, to our 2 medical schools and their ability to continue to rise in the ranks of American medical schools, and we believe that the Banner and the U of A will be great partners going forward.
There was some quite public criticism of your leadership over the summer. What are you doing to improve your public perception in Tucson?
Well, one of the issues that it was important for me to come to understand was what is the difference between perception and a lack of knowledge about what we've actually accomplished and been doing over the summer. And so I've had some wonderful help from business leaders throughout the state, with influential alumni, with leaders in our foundation, and here in our community in Tucson, as we work toward telling the message and helping people to understand the incredible advancements we make and the difficult decisions you referred to earlier in our conversation. And that's a part of what you accept when you take on a tough job. I didn't come here thinking that this was going to be an easy job, but I did know from the very beginning that the potential for positive impact was tremendous. And I'm very excited about the progress we've made so far.
That's all the time we have today. Dr. Hart, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.